So I, 18 male, live with my grandparents right now. I turned 18 a few weeks ago and chose to move out of my dad's house. Things are not so good between us. We lost our mom when I was 7 and my brother was 6. Dad remarried within a year of mom dying and moved stepmom in with us after 7 months. Right when that was about to happen, he set us down. He told us he wanted to make our home a happy one, that having pictures of mom's stuff around would make him sad and make his new wife and her children unhappy and make them feel like they weren't welcome. He wanted them to feel welcome, so he wanted us to be okay with giving all that stuff to our mom's parents. My brother cried, and I asked if we couldn't keep some pictures. Dad told us he wanted us to get on board and wanted them gone for the sake of the new family. We gave in because we felt like we had no choice. My brother told Dad it made him sad. Dad said he didn't want that, but he did want us to be okay with it someday. When Dad's wedding came up, he said he wanted us to hold hands with our step-siblings, and he wanted us to present a united front as a family. I told him no way. He told me kids sometimes have to do stuff they don't want to because their parents want them to do it, and it would make others happy. So we did that. Then he wanted us to stop talking about mom so much. Stepmom felt like we were trying to tell her she wasn't our new mom. Her kids felt like we were excluding them from stuff. So he emphasized what he wanted a lot with that. A lot of stuff has come up where he wanted us to do something or change things, from being willing to babysit to wanting me to do family trees with the current family instead of my actual family, meaning including mom but not including steps. He'd always go either firm or lay on a guilt trip. It meant my brother and I had a lot of hard feelings, especially about pretending the step family was a true nuclear family without missing people. We're the only kids who didn't fully blend. Stepmom was a step siblings were steps, and half siblings were half. Our step siblings called Dad their dad, us their brothers, and never ever said half. They even said that they don't care if their bio dad ever gets mentioned because he's just a stranger who died. So we all did a bunch of family therapy to fix my brother and me and fix us all into the perfect nuclear family. It didn't work, and my brother and I didn't suddenly feel like we were just a family. Dad didn't like it, and when I moved out, he was extra unhappy, especially because my brother wanted to move with me. He wanted us to do therapy again and told me he didn't want me to be one of those kids who moved out immediately. I told him I didn't need fixing and that he needed to accept he couldn't always get what he wanted. Dad told me it's not all about the kids, and I selfishly never wanted him to be happy and for us to have a new family. Am I the idiot? Your dad didn't give you and your brother the opportunity to grieve. Instead, he took away your memories of your mom and forced a new insta-family on you. He never listened to you and your brother saying you weren't happy with all this. Your dad is the idiot here. Ironic that he's calling OP selfish, as every action on Dad's part was incredibly selfish. Don't talk about mom because it bums me out. Play nice because I want to make my new family comfortable. Do this to make me happy. It's never a child's job to make their parent happy. Quite the opposite. Dad sounds emotionally immature, and now he's lost a relationship with his sons. Yeah, OP should tell the dad he failed with his old family, and he can just enjoy his time with his new family that he badly wanted. Hope brother can get out of there soon, too. I'd straight up tell him he's a failure as a parent and a failure as a human being, and I'd hope to never see him again. Anyone who abuses you by trying to erase a parent because it's inconvenient to them deserves complete social ostracism, and the stepmother has to be equally as terrible to have gone along with it, so she isn't worth a plug nickel either. Your father's trying to weaponize his very specific choice of therapy to force you into the box that he feels you should fit into. Therapy, in his eyes, is like trying to get a professional to tell you to shut up and color in the situation at hand. That said, I would encourage you to look into actual therapy of your own accord, personally, and not involving anyone else. Wish you the absolute best of luck. I'm male 21, told my sister, 26, that I would babysit her baby daughter for her best friend's wedding. I told her I would be able to and that it was fine. However, the wedding weekend came around and my mates asked if I wanted to go watch Ant-Man the same day that I was supposed to babysit. I told them yes and told my sister I would no longer be able to babysit on that day. She got mad at me and said that if I agreed to do something, I should have stuck by it. And now she has no one to babysit while she goes to the wedding. I told her that it's normal for people to change their minds and that she shouldn't be mad at me when I was doing her a favor in the first place. It was nice of me to even offer in the first place, and she should be grateful no matter what. She refuses to talk to me, and it's been 2 weeks since we last spoke. She says that that was low of me. The fact I offered in the first place was nice enough, and she can't blame me for my plans changing. Am I the idiot? The offering doesn't mean crap if you don't go through with what you offered. You're 21. You're way too old to not realize you are the idiot here. You committed. Your sister planned around that commitment, and you let her down. Yeah, but people change their minds. A movie too? What a loser. You can go see that anytime you want. I would honestly cut this brother out of my life unless they grew up. But I feel like this dude will be self-centered his whole life. Your sister should be extra upset. You prevented her from finding another babysitter by pretending to be available. You made her situation worse than if you had never offered. It's fascinating to me when people think offering a favor is nice, regardless of follow-through. I married into a family with this mindset. My husband has been working to unlearn it for a long time, and I'm unsure whether any of my in-laws are. My theory is that it stems from a rough childhood where people let them down a lot. They remember the happy feelings when people promise them things, and somehow they don't fully connect that to the sad feelings when the promises were broken. This is not intended as an excuse for OP, just a side note. This is called being unreliable. Dude, you just told your sister that she and her niece are less important than seeing Ant-Man with the boys. Good chance you've ruined your relationship with your sister as well. All for a movie you could see at any time. My fiance, Jen, and I have been together for 6 years now, and I wanted a dog 2 years ago. There have been some unforeseen issues surrounding this because the dog has some behaviors that Jen doesn't like at all, and there have been some conflicting opinions on what's acceptable and what isn't. I'm admittedly a lot more of a dog person than she is. I have a lot more patience, and I don't see the problems with the things she does. I don't mind the dog sleeping on the bed, but Jen refuses to allow it because she doesn't want the dog on her when she's trying to sleep. Or I don't think that table scraps are bad and will sometimes give the dog some, but Jen outright refuses because she fully believes it's enforcing begging behavior, which she finds insufferable. She won't let the dog in the kitchen when she's cooking and doesn't want the dog near her when she's eating because of the begging and whining that sometimes comes along with it. And lastly, the big one, she doesn't want the dog on her under any circumstances. She has grown to not show my dog any affection because my dog wants kisses and will put her forehead to yours whenever she's in your lap. It's the only way my dog will sit. And I will admit that the dog wants to be held like this frequently. So Jen won't even show her affection because she absolutely hates the dog in her face. And she's told me several times I need to stop giving in and allowing the dog on my lap every single time she tries because I'm enforcing codependency. As you can see, conflicting opinions. Anyways, Jen just got herself something to eat. My dog was lying in the kennel, but as soon as she saw Jen's food, she came out and stretched big while staring at Jen. She then started sniffing the air while simply looking in Jen's direction. And while she did inch closer, she didn't get too close. She just sat down and watched Jen eat. Jen then rolls her eyes and fully turns herself around so the dog can't watch her, which, whatever. But then the dog started whining and wanted me to pick her up and was still staring at Jen. So I said, "Oh, Mama doesn't want the poor doggo to have any yummy foods." The dog then jumped from my lap and moved to a position where she could watch Jen. Before I could even say anything to correct the dog, Jen said, "You have about 2 seconds to get your dog away from me and stop enforcing the behaviors you know I hate, or I'm gone." I told her she was a stupid psycho for treating the dog like this, and if she had just waited 2 seconds, I would have gotten the dog from her. Instead, she got up, threw her food away, and locked herself away in our shared bedroom and will not come out. Am I the idiot? I'm so sick and tired of all the coddlers who treat their dogs like people. It's an animal. It is your inferior. It's your job to train it to behave, or everyone else will be worse off. You are the idiot, OP. Your fiance didn't just blow up on you the first time it happened. You were well aware of her feelings and ignored them, causing her to blow up. You baby talked to the pup when she was already annoyed, further upsetting her, and deliberately moved the dog so it was back in front of her at eye level, when the whole point of her turning around in the first place was so she didn't have to look at it. I'm a dog person, and I love my dogs. OP's different viewpoint is the wrong viewpoint. The whole guilt your partner using the doggo voice thing is pretty childish as well. Giving a dog table scraps, encouraging begging, and encouraging behavior you know your fiance hates is a good way to get rid of your fiance. Calling her a psycho means she's probably leaving. I think you'll have to choose between your dog and your girlfriend if she hasn't decided to end things already. At least you found out about your incompatibilities before the wedding. Update. She just handed me her ring, said she saw the post and made the decision, and left after saying she was getting a U-Haul to move her crap. Whatever. OMG, apparently it's whatever. So I guess OP didn't care about her that much. Like he didn't drive her nuts and ignore her valid concerns. Like she's not justified in dumping him for his continued disrespect of her, and then calling her a stupid psycho. Yikes. He just wanted to be told he was right. I bet to throw in her face. Good call, Jen. This idiot does not respect you whatsoever. My parents divorced when I was 5. I don't actually remember them together. My dad met my stepmom when I was 6. My stepmom tried to fill a second mom role, and my dad tried to facilitate that. At times it meant them asking my mom to let me go someplace with them on her time, or trying to get a Mother's Day celebration in. I know it hurt my mom. The thought of sharing the role as my mom, she never said anything. She never discouraged me at all, but there are always ways to tell if you know someone well enough and pay enough attention. I want to reiterate, my mom never interfered or said anything against my stepmom or dad. My noticing could be the reason I'm not closer to my stepmom, though I definitely don't despise her or see her as nothing. But a second mom is not something I ever considered her as. I do like her, though. For my wedding planning and dress appointments, etc., I wanted to make it small for my mom and me. I wanted the experience with her anyway, but I also wanted to give her something she didn't have to share with my stepmom. This became more of a thing when my grandma and great aunt on my dad's side called my stepmom Mother of the Bride on Facebook. The 3 commented that it would be a great experience for her to see me pick out a dress and stuff. After seeing that, I went to my stepmom and dad technically. I told her I didn't want to give her a role as Mom of the Bride, and she shouldn't be doing traditional Mom of the Bride stuff with me, dress shopping and fittings. I told her we could figure something else out. I asked if there was anything else she'd want to tag along for, like looking at flowers. She was sad and asked me why I didn't want her as the second mom of the bride. I told her that I wanted that just for my mom. Dad then brings up that my mom won't mind and that she'd want me to have both of my moms there. I told him he was wrong. She'd only agreed to share it because she felt that it was the right thing to do, but it hurt her. He looked stunned and asked how I knew. I told him those close to her always knew. He then said he never would have expected that from her because she was always the perfect parent and person, and that was why they ended up divorcing, because he couldn't handle it and was envious of her. I told him nobody's perfect, and it's unfair for him to expect my mom to be. I asked him if he'd be happy to be one of my dads. He said of course not, but he'd always thought that mom would be better than him. The whole conversation left my dad and stepmom with rough feelings, and she made it clear she was upset that after all these years, I wouldn't give her the love and respect to be included as a mom of the bride. Also, I've spoken to my mom about the overall topic before. She's never admitted it, but always said she wanted the best for me and to be happy. Her best friend confirmed it for me, though. Am I the idiot? You have a living mother. It's incredibly narcissistic for your father and stepmom to think that she'll serve in the role of your mother for your wedding preparations when you have a living mother that you're close to. It's also unreasonable that these people hold your mother to a higher standard than they hold themselves. Not the idiot at all. Dad then brings up that my mom won't mind and she'd want me to have both my moms there. That was never a decision to make. Also, what is wrong with your dad? Your mom was perfect, so he divorced her and married your stepmother? Who is bog standard normal? If I was the stepmother, I'd be peeved to say the least. Your dad is the main idiot. Your mom was painfully gracious about it your whole life, and it's only fair that she gets to have this with you. Side note, I understand why your stepmom is hurt and would like the affirmation of being a second mom after all these years, but she should let it go. I, 23 male, and my fiance, 22 female, are supposed to get married this April. My fiance has 6 bridesmaids confirmed at her wedding, while I only have 5 groomsmen. Why is this an issue, you may ask? Well, I have OCD, which makes me a perfectionist and prone to get fixated on certain details, and I become very anxious and uncomfortable if I can't fix these details after my liking. This is one such instance. I really wish to have the same number of groomsmen and bridesmaids at our wedding, and I really tried initially to find a 6th groomsman, but I'm not a very sociable person with a large group of close friends, and so I couldn't find anyone else fitting of the position. That's why I decided to ask my fiance to drop one of her bridesmaids from the lineup. I thought she'd understand my side, because she knows how much I struggle with OCD, but instead, she blew up at me about my using my condition to control her and alienate her from one of her friends to conform to my demands. I feel like she's being a bit unreasonable. She's not even that close with 2 of her bridesmaids, so she could easily drop one of them from the bridesmaids lineup and have her attend the wedding as a regular guest without too much drama. Plus, she should want her groom to be comfortable during the wedding, which I'm afraid I might not be because of this imbalance between the number of groomsmen and bridesmaids, which would eat at me and make me anxious and stressed out for the entirety of the wedding. Still, it seems like this time, my fiancé is refusing to see my side and is putting her foot down. Am I the idiot? Edit. She had me become friends with her brothers, which made it easier for me to enlist them as groomsmen. But for someone to become a groomsman of mine, it needs to be someone I at least know a little bit. I don't want any random cousin or boyfriend to become my groomsman. You are the idiot. You don't get to use your mental health diagnosis to place demands on your partner regarding how to treat their friends. Your life will be full of these situations. You are responsible for looking after your mental health by coping rather than demanding that others cope for you. You're asking your fiancé to blow up the relationship with one of her friends because of a condition that you have that's not her responsibility, which is treatable. And you won't even compromise by trying to find another groomsman. Are you sure she isn't reconsidering the whole wedding by now? Come on, man, look outside the box for a solution. OP, so the real choice is between 1. Your fiancé eliminates a bridesmaid, experiences a major upset, and possibly ruins an important friendship, or 2. You accept a new groomsman that you don't have a relationship with and experience minor discomfort for a few hours, and you're insisting on option 1. Do you even care about anyone but yourself? This isn't about OCD. It's about a man who expects his fiancée to make a major sacrifice to accommodate his small discomfort.